Hello and welcome to Excel Mathematics TV. This presentation will be about multiplication and division with scientific notation. Before going straight to solving, let's start with some important properties that we will use in multiplying and dividing numbers in scientific notation. The first property is the product of powers. Look at this and try to understand. This means that to multiply terms with the same base, just add their exponents. Then we have the quotient of powers. This property is represented by x raised to the m over x raised to the n is equal to x raised to the m minus n. Now what does this mean? This means that to divide terms with the same base, just subtract their exponents. Sounds pretty easy, right? Remember that these properties only apply if the powers have the same base. Now that we're done with the important properties, let's go ahead and learn the steps in multiplying numbers in scientific notation. First, group the coefficients in powers of 10. Then multiply the coefficients we grouped. After that, multiply the powers of 10 by applying the product of powers property that we just discussed earlier. Finally, write the result in scientific notation. To understand the concept further, let's solve an example. Evaluate the product of 2.61 times 10 raised to the 5th power and 4.5 times 10 raised to the 4th power and express the result in scientific notation. Following the steps we discussed, start by grouping the coefficients in powers of 10. We just combined 2.61 and 4.5, then 10 raised to 5 and 10 raised to 4, and we have the product of 2.61 and 4.5 times the product of 10 raised to the 5th power and 10 raised to the 4th power. Now that we grouped accordingly, it's time to multiply the coefficients 2.61 and 4.5. 2.61 times 4.5 is 11.745, so we now have 11.745 times the product of 10 raised to the 5th power and 10 raised to the 4th power. Let's now work on simplifying the grouped powers of 10. We will multiply the powers of 10. So, how do we do it? We will apply the product of powers property. That is by adding the exponents 5 and 4. Let's remove the parentheses and put 5 plus 4 as the exponent of 10. 5 plus 4 is 9, so we will have the result 11.745 times 10 raised to the 9th power. The last step is to write the result in scientific notation. There should only be one whole number in the coefficient, and because there are two, we need to move the decimal point one place to the left and add 1 to the exponent of 10. We add to the exponent of 10 if we are moving the decimal point to the left. Thus, the product of 2.61 times 10 raised to the 5th power and 4.5 times 10 raised to the 4th power is 1.1745 times 10 raised to the 10th power. You already know how to multiply scientific notation, so now let's learn how to divide. There are 4 simple steps in dividing numbers in scientific notation. These steps are somehow familiar to the steps in multiplying numbers in scientific notation. The first step is to group the coefficients in powers of 10. Then divide the coefficients as what's indicated in the expression. After that, divide the powers of 10 by applying the property of quotient of powers. And the last step is always writing the result in scientific notation. Let's have an example. Let's try to evaluate the quantity 5 times 10 raised to the 12th power divided by the quantity 3 times 10 raised to the 8th power. We will also express the result in scientific notation. If you can still remember, we always start by grouping the coefficients in powers of 10. After grouping, we have the product of the quantity of 5 divided by 3 and the quantity of 10 raised to 12 divided by 10 raised to 8. After that, just do what's indicated in the expression. Divide the coefficients 5 and 3 and we have 1.67 times the quantity 10 raised to 12 divided by 10 raised to 8. After dividing the coefficients, the next step is to divide the powers of 10 by subtracting the exponents 12 and 8. We subtract because we follow the property of quotient of powers. Just put 12 minus 8 as the exponent of 10, and that is the quotient of the powers of 10. And we should simplify it too. Simplifying gives us 1.67 times 10 raised to the 4th power. And finally, write the result in scientific notation. Thus, the quantity 5 times 10 raised to the 12th power divided by the quantity 3 times 10 raised to the 8th power is equal to 1.67 times 10 raised to the 4th power. Now it's time to apply what we've learned in solving some worded problems. Here's the problem. There are approximately 8 times 10 raised to the 8th power people in the world. If each person made 1.5 times 10 raised to the 4th power dollars in a year, how much money was made worldwide? Make sure you understand the problem well. So, the problem is asking us the money made in a worldwide year. To find the answer to that, multiply the given numbers. The given numbers are in scientific notation, so we will apply what we learned in multiplying numbers in scientific notation. Do you still remember the first thing we need to do? That is to group the coefficients and powers of 10. Doing so will result to the product of 8 and 1.5 times the product of 10 raised to the 8th power and 10 raised to the 4th power. Then, do the indicated operations inside the grouping symbols. Multiply the coefficients first. 8 times 1.5 is 12, so we have 12 times the product of 10 raised to the 8th power and 10 raised to the 4th power. There is still one remaining grouping symbol, and we need to simplify that. So multiply the powers of 10 by adding the exponents, 8 and 4. 8 plus 4 is equal to 12, so we have 12 times 10 raised to the 12th power. But we're not done yet. We still need to write the result in scientific notation. Just move the decimal point one place to the left and add 1 to the exponent of 10, and we have 1.2 times 10 raised to the 13th power. And that is the final answer. Thus, the amount of money made worldwide by all the people in a year is 1.2 times 10 raised to the 13th power dollars. Let's have another problem. The speed of light is 4 times 10 raised to the 7th power meters per second. If the sun is 1.5 times 10 raised to the 12th power meters from Earth, how many seconds does it take light to reach the Earth? Express your answer in scientific notation. In order to solve the problem, we need to know what is being asked. So the problem is asking for the time in seconds for the light to reach the Earth. After analyzing the problem, we can determine how to find the time. To find how many seconds it takes light to reach Earth, we will divide the distance of the sun from Earth by the speed of light. Based on the given problem, the speed of light is 4 times 10 raised to the 7th power meters per second, and the distance from sun to Earth is 1.5 times 10 raised to the 12th power meters. So we have 1.5 times 10 raised to the 12th power meters over 4 times 10 raised to the 7th power meters per second. We will follow the same procedure like what we did with the previous examples. So the next step is to group the coefficients and powers of 10. Group them like this. 1.5 divided by 4 is 0.375. So we have 0.375 times 10 raised to the 12th power over 10 raised to the 7th power seconds. In dividing the powers of 10, we will just subtract the exponents, 12 and 7. Write the solution just like this. Do not interchange 12 and 7 because we will get a different answer. Remember, when the expression is in fraction form and we are dividing powers, it is always the exponent of the numerator minus the exponent of the denominator. 12 minus 7 is 5, so now we have 0.375 times 10 raised to the 5th power seconds. I'm sure that by now everyone knows what the final step is. That is to write the result in scientific notation. Doing so will give us the result 3.75 times 10 raised to the 4th power seconds. It's already in scientific notation, so that is our final answer. Thus, it will take 3.75 times 10 raised to the 4th power seconds for light to reach the Earth. I guess that's enough knowledge for now. Multiplication and division with scientific notation is pretty easy and fun. Always practice and you will surely make use of it in the future. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.